Welcome to the podcast.
This is TheWordPool, and this is a bad idea. Before we get started, I'd like to apologize.
Yeah, it was a bad idea.
Did we make a mistake?
I think we did, but let's jump into it. We're already like 20 seconds in.
But let's just jump into it. Okay, so I guess we'll start with introductions. I'll go first. My name is Jackson Bush. I'm by the way, we're both 16, so
yeah,
ladies. Jackson Bush. Just kind of, my goal is to be a writer, so I'm kind of just doing my own thing. I guess this podcast is kind of like a part of like a resume, I guess, just saying that I did more things. And I guess that's it.
And I am Lucas Hipskind, and I want to be a neurologist. So that's my story.
What exactly does that mean, neurologist?
Neurologist is they study the brain. I'm pretty sure.
Well, but how does that go? Like, what exactly are you going to do?
Not brain surgery, that's for sure. I'd probably do something like study brain chemistry, maybe find treatments for different illnesses, but my hands are too shaky for the whole brain surgery thing. Although they do get paid a lot,
Like more than regular doctors?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to get into all... Well, I don't know, I've thought about it. Like, my mom always wanted me to do it, but...
Whose mom didn't want them to do it?
I guess that's true. And my mom was always like, you could write if, like, you're in the waiting room. You're waiting for the next patient. You could, do some writing, but...
Did she want you to write, like, medical papers or just, like, a random thing?
I think... Well, because I think that I was doing, like, fiction work, and I always wanted to write something, like, storytell-wise. And then she was like, oh, sure, you can do that while you're making the $100,000 a year plus, for the family.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's really all I want to do. That's all I can think of that I would want to do. I don't know. So what do you think? What do you think about prom? What do you think about prom?
Oh yeah, that is coming up soon in April. I don't know. I'm not usually a huge fan of the whole dress nice party thing, but. I mean, it can't be that bad, right? Like,
I mean, I don't know. I think that our prom is a mess.
Our prom will always be a mess, like always, no matter what, who's planning it.
We go to a small school. We can't do that much with prom.
Yeah, I mean, my class did a lot of funding for it, but it could be better. That's what I'm gonna say right now. It could always be better.
I mean, you guys did a good job making the money for it.
Yeah, we did do that. We raised like $600, I think.
And now you're doing the stuff for your trip, right?
Yes, yeah. We're raising money for our senior trip.
Are we getting, because we're in two different classes? Am I getting the money from the ticket sales?
Yeah, you guys are getting money for the ticket sales,
and that should work out. I think that. I mean, prom won't be like a disaster, I think.
Oh, no, it won't be like a disaster per se, but it won't be the best. Like, some of those bigger schools, prom will probably be much better.
And a lot of people that are going to prom say that they don't want to go. Like,
that's a good point that you bring up, that a lot of people don't want to go. And we really don't have the people to just have people not go, because there's like 30 of us.
Yeah. I mean, isn't it like mostly your class too, and they raise the money?
Not most of my class. I'd say 2 or 3 people don't want to go.
I mean, that's still like a large fraction.
Yeah, it is still like a tenth of the high school, but...
Yeah. Our high school's so small.
Oh, yeah.
I wish that, we could find a way for it to just grow,
Dude. It's a podcast.
Yeah, listen, if anybody's listening, can you guys just, send somebody to our school, just shadow, we're not going to tell you the name, that would be just like kind of inappropriate, but
just know what our school is.
Yeah, just kind of guess. I mean, just do whatever you need to do. But I don't know. I think that our school will not survive the next 10 years. I don't think so.
I disagree, but who's to say, really?
I mean, what positives do you think our school is going?
Elementary.
Just the elementary?
Just the elementary.
You think that we can grow just from the elementary?
I think the elementary can grow. I don't know about the high school. They might drop that in 10 years. Who knows?
I mean, I would never send a kid to the place that we go to.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of based on your own personal preferences. There's probably some parent out there that would still send them.
I guess, but they know how to handle these kind of parties like prom and homecoming dances and stuff like that. We don't have the funds to do it. But
yeah, that's true. But I mean, we raised funds, so that's not a problem. It should be fine.
I guess. I mean, I guess all of our stuff is outside of school boundaries, so that's kind of okay too. Yeah, I think that school is school, and you just kind of have to go. And I think everybody has their problems.
Yeah, every school has problems, I guess. So
I just wish that ours weren't so apparent, like the fact that our roof falls over our heads sometimes.
I mean, just because it's leaky doesn't mean it's bad. It's still a good roof. And the fact, the heater doesn't work like at all. Don't even forget to mention that.
Oh, but yeah, I like how they were like, yeah, we're gonna get a heater, and then 6 months later there was
no heater. Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know. Let's see here. I mean, I guess now we have a platform to talk about all this stuff. Now we can just complain and somebody will listen.
I don't think anyone's gonna listen to this podcast, but
well, listen. Probably not, but we'll have this. We can laugh at ourselves later.
That'll be nice.
I mean, we're really just talking.
It's true.
Let's describe a podcast. We're talking.
Yeah.
And there's a microphone, but that doesn't matter until I edit it. So whatever.
Have you heard of that new movie that's gonna come out? I think it's called Brightburn.
What is that about?
It is a movie that is like Superman, except Superman's evil.
Oh, I did hear about that. I think that's a good idea. The problem with that is it exactly Superman?
I don't know. I know he has laser vision. He flies around and he's got super strength, just from the trailer.
So that I don't know. I think that's kind of like a cop out. Like someone could just be like, oh, it's close enough to Superman, and people like superhero movies, so let me make an evil version.
I disagree with that because the trailer, it does not show it as a superhero movie at all in like the most traditional sense.
But he still has the powers, right?
He has powers, but like he does not use them right. Like he doesn't stand for any kind of justice at all. He just kind of like takes names and that whole thing. Yeah. I don't know. I think it looks really interesting. It looks kind of creepy, to be honest. If you ever watch the trailer, like it's really, really weird and creepy and unsettling. At least to me.
Yeah, I'll go see it. It's just that I think that it's kind of a cop out when you're writing something and you're like, oh, I could use this idea because it's so apparent in the media, like because it's superheroes. Like that's what's good right now.
I don't know. I feel like that's just kind of like capitalizing on the your current situation. I don't think that's a cop out at all.
I mean,
I think it's like a way to get your idea out there through a media that's popular, so lots of people will notice it.
I wonder if it's gonna have any backlash because it sounds a lot like Superman.
I don't know if it'll have backlash. I don't know who's producing it, so I don't know if there'd be copyright issues.
Yeah. Well, so do you know what studio is doing it?
Nope. I just saw the trailer once. I thought it looked cool. I thought I'd bring it up.
Well, I think there's a lot of good movies coming out this year. I mean, we have It Too.
It Too. Yeah.
I mean, I read it and it was great.
I did not. It's too long.
I mean, okay, it's a good book, but it is 1,156 pages. So, yeah, it's pretty long. But I think that the movies have done a good job of splitting up the different parts, and I think It Too is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, but will it be as good as that one from the 90s?
I mean, I don't like the one from the 90s.
I haven't even seen the one from the 90s all the way through. Like, the only parts I've seen of it are the parts that I watched over here.
Yeah, so I think that the one from the 90s is scarier than the one from 2017.
I mean, that's
it's got that.
I feel like a lot of people would disagree with you on that.
Well, because it's got that weird like creep element.
I mean, it's got that unsettling vibe and not so much jump scare, but I feel like I don't know.
Well, if you can get used to Pennywise's look and his like just the fact when he jump scares you, I think you can be fine through the rest of the movie. It's
true. I mean, if you're not scared by those jump scares and like cheap thrill kind of things, yeah, it wouldn't be that scary of a movie. But it's if you are scared of those kind of things and you're like are very susceptible to jump scares, then it would be probably a really scary movie.
Well, the worst one is in It Chapter 1 where the character just turns around and he's there, and it's like such a quick cut, and he just grabs her throat. I don't know. That's just kind of cheap.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I would rather have like a kind of unsettling, slow burn kind of horror, like Dracula. Good book.
I mean, I guess. I think books can do a better job of scaring you than movies can sometimes.
It depends to me, because if the book isn't very if the book is only kind of quasi descriptive, and it doesn't really give you those good gory details to make it terrifying, then I disagree.
I mean, that's what I like about it, is that it got really descriptive. But that's Stephen King's whole thing, is that he does that. I don't know. Last year was the year of Stephen King. I read all those books.
I did not. I didn't read that much last year.
Yeah. Reading at our school is a big thing. Like, you have people that read 13 books at a time or whatever. I don't understand that, but I guess everybody has their hobbies and stuff.
I guess. It's weird, but what you gonna do?
I mean, I don't like how book reading became less of a thing for people to do, and so teachers and other kind of faculties and older people were like, oh, reading is just this thing that no one likes to do. So like, I've seen a posted picture where they're like, oh, look at these kids, they're reading. Isn't that a crazy thing? But people still read. It's just
it's just less common than it used to be. I mean, TV used to be, when TV wasn't really around, reading was like the thing to do. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but now there's just too many. I think that we have too many ways to consume media.
Probably. I mean, no one would disagree with you on that standpoint, I would guess. But I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of a symbol of changing times. I feel like later we'll have something else that's not media that we'll consume, and people will be like, oh, we should watch more TV or something crazy like that.
Or like the whole idea of podcasting, where it's like YouTube became a big thing like 10 years ago, and everybody got into it because it was this new platform where you could express all these ideas. But it seems like the way YouTube is going, podcasting seems better, because YouTube is limiting the amount of speech that you can have. So podcasting is like, well, you can say whatever you want, and you can upload it in your own fashion, and it's your own show. Like, there's nobody touching it, and you can find advertisers or sponsors to put on your own podcast, and you can make money that way.
Yeah, except this podcast, because no one's gonna watch the podcast.
I mean, I have to listen to it to edit it, but I'm not looking forward to that. But
unfortunate.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I miss YouTube the way it used to be. Like, it just used to be fun. I don't know if that's an age thing, but
I don't know. I always watch weird stuff on YouTube. I never watched the classic, like, source-fed, BuzzFeed, whatever kind of
companies.
Stuff. I never watched companies. I always watched, like, small YouTubers or Let's Plays, or really, I just kind of used YouTube as a utility of anything else. Like, I'd check, like, Overwatch statistics and stats on it, and I would, I don't know, see what games are coming out. I would almost never use it for, like, recreational use, I guess is the right word for it.
Well, some companies were good for YouTube. Like, I think that SourceFed's a good example of that, because that was funded by YouTube in the beginning. Like, that was the first YouTube funded show, and then it became this thing where all the like, it just became a money issue. And once, like, advertisers started going crazy and they started pulling their ads out, and some wanted to sponsor you, and it just became this big deal that no one wanted to deal with, because YouTube wasn't this fun place anymore. But I think that's where podcasting kind of comes in, because it's your own element. It's your own, like, situation for you to do.
It's nice. Podcasting is...
I think listening to podcasts is also somehow more rewarding because I think people like with YouTube they kind of introduce longer and longer watch times, right? Because before it was like 5 minutes.
Yeah, remember when the cap used to be like 11 minutes, like no matter what?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Crazy.
But then as advertisers started coming in, people realized that like they needed to make their videos longer to have more chances of making money, and money became the driving factor, and then it just wasn't about like being fun anymore. And so when that happened, people like expressed themselves, and they found out that they liked making like 30 to an hour long content just as much as fans liked watching it. But the problem was is that because it was all fueled by money, some of it wasn't exactly what they wanted it to be. Like people can't swear now on YouTube, and so like with podcasts, you can say whatever you want, and it can be an hour long. So you can still do what you like, and you can still express yourself, and you can still do all this kind of stuff. But it's on a platform that you get to make, and that you design everything. And people still use YouTube to like make their channel, like make the banner and the podcast logo and stuff.
Yeah, I'd say, I don't know, YouTube, I don't know, it's so hard to get into, I feel, because, like, it's easy to make a channel, but, like, there's no way to make it big. There's no, like, I feel like you have to be so, like, you've already had to have been in YouTube for a long time if you want to be a big channel now.
Yeah, we know so many people that are trying to make channels, but you have to have something crazy happen to actually become a YouTuber, because the people that are big now will always be big. Like, that's why the people like PewDiePie, who like just kind of jumped in 10 years ago, because the platform was new and people like just liked his personality, he just skyrocketed because there wasn't anyone else like him. But now there's 720, I think it's million hours or something like that uploaded every minute or something. But it's just YouTube has to curate it all and everything. But there's just so much content. It's like, how can you compete with everybody else?
I don't think you can, to be honest.
And then that's where like companies come in, where it's like you could almost buy your views, especially if you have someone like Will Smith or The Rock has a YouTube channel. Like that's just, it's not good.
It's ridiculous.
It is kind of ridiculous because YouTube used to just be these like people that you just kind of related to, or that like if it was a Let's Player, you would you'd like their content, you'd like the way they play the games, but it's kind of like they're still their personality. Because you could always just play the game, or you could, watch a walkthrough or something.
Yeah.
But you kind of stay for the person, like Markiplier or something.
Yeah, I feel like Markiplier is a good example of that, because I feel like like if you watch Markiplier for like either the gameplay or like how skillful he is, you're not watching him for the right reason, because like he's not the best at games, but he's interesting and funny, and he always has something to say, which is probably why he's popular as he is now.
Yeah, I mean he just kind of has this like mood to him or tone or something.
Yeah, and another good example of that would be like the Game Grumps, because the Game Grumps aren't necessarily good at games.
Yeah.
But people watch them because they just like the banter between the two hosts or whatever it is that they're doing. I feel like they've actually branched out and started doing what's like a Power Hour thing.
Well, what does that mean?
They just do a random challenge like once a week. I think I haven't watched any of them, but they look interesting.
Yeah, I think that comedy is becoming the biggest thing on YouTube.
Yeah,
like just in general. I think that a lot of companies have manufactured that, but I think that a lot of like solo people that are staying on YouTube, their main thing is just to make you laugh.
I think that's very true, because a lot of like there are some informational channels out there, but like most of them are there to like make you laugh or make you like just make you laugh. Really, there isn't another option.
I guess, and people, I think that's because the audiences on YouTube are getting younger and younger, so they kind of want the entertainment part of it. I think the people that are older that kind of need to have their news or have something else, like there's people like Philip DeFranco for that, but otherwise there's not really like an older demographic to YouTube.
Yeah, and I feel like that like doesn't mix well with comedy, because comedy should be, I don't know, to me it feels like it's really filtered on YouTube compared to what it is actually, like stand-up and stuff. It's like some of those Netflix specials get pretty raunchy.
Yeah, but I think that's because just people that are watching Netflix, because Netflix would never release their stuff, their analytics. But, yeah, Netflix has all this information. I bet most of it is just older people. And YouTube, I think a lot of people are leaving YouTube and going to other platforms like Netflix and stuff. But I think that the more people that just have access to this free service that's YouTube go to YouTube, and they're just all younger. I think that's just the thing. And I mean, that's kind of sad, but maybe that's how people felt a couple years ago when we were still watching YouTube all the time.
I guess, but I felt like there was more of a divide back then. Maybe it's just me, but like back then I feel like there were things I wanted to watch on YouTube that were, you know, like, I don't know, Minecraft Let's Plays, but now it's like less of a divide. Like there's just less content for older people to watch.
I'm gonna look this up. When did Netflix actually start? It started
in like 90s.
Yeah, 97.
Yeah.
But I mean, that wasn't obviously that was mostly the DVDs.
Yeah, that was mostly the DVD thing, which was awesome, by the way. I wish they still did that.
They don't do the DVDs anymore.
I don't think.
I think it's a third party.
I remember we used to have the DVD service, and it was great. You'd get like a new DVD, like whenever you send the other one back, and it was great because you get to watch something new every once in a while that wasn't on Netflix. And I'm pretty sure almost everything was in their DVD library, so...
They had more stuff on their DVD list than on regular Netflix. Or on digital Netflix.
And it was super nice, but I haven't seen that in a while, so...
It's because everything's instant. Like, that's the problem with DVDs. Like, I don't think DVDs will last that long. Like, in the next, like, far future. I think that DVDs will not stand the test of time.
Compared to like, digital movies?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't like digital movies. Every time I get a digital movie, something goes wrong.
Well, yeah, like
there's one time where I got a digital movie and nothing went wrong, and that was when I got it Tangled on Amazon Prime. And I got it digitally because I was like, I love Tangled. It's a great movie. But, I don't know, that's the only time I've ever had nothing go wrong. Like but every other time, something's gone wrong.
Well, it's probably because you're still using Amazon. Like, it's the same thing with like Amazon Prime, right? It's the same digital kind of service, except you have to pay for it. Like, if you think about it, everything is on that same Amazon Prime kind of interface, but you just pay for it. It's like a paywall. Like, that's a weird way to look at Amazon Prime. Because everything is on Amazon Prime. Yes. It's not just like you're paying for something and they send you an email. It's like, oh, here's like the website where it's at. It's like, no, you pay $100 a year, but you still don't get... You get a lot, but you don't get everything.
I don't know. Amazon Prime's really good, though. Because they have a lot... Because... Amazon Prime, first off, it comes with Prime shipping, which is great. 2-day shipping on, like, thousands of things.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you get a pretty good streaming service.
Yeah.
Which they have, like, they don't have the same shows as Netflix, but they have all of those good shows from, like, the early 2000s. Like, they have House and Psych and Monk, I think.
I think Monk's on Amazon, yeah.
But yeah, they have all kinds of good things like that, and they also have I don't know, they have weird movies. Like they have Star Trek and Murder on the Orient Express and Terminator.
Because Amazon gets whatever they can get their hands on. Like if it doesn't go to because Netflix is the biggest one, and so most companies or Netflix will reach out to most companies first because I think that's how it works. That Netflix pays to have it on there. So Netflix goes out to all these companies first, and Amazon can't really get as many people to agree to have their stuff on there because they'd rather have it be on Netflix if they ask. But I think that in terms of like everybody, like if you have the YouTube and the Netflix and the Amazon and the Hulu, Amazon is probably the best service just because you get so much with it.
Yeah, I didn't even get to the streaming music part.
Yeah, you get
like everyone uses Spotify these days, but like Amazon does have an ad-free music streaming service.
Yeah, but the problem with Amazon is it just like the movies, you don't get everything.
That is true. You do not get everything. But what you do get is pretty good.
That would make me more upset than the movies, is if I don't get, like, a bunch of music.
But, here's the thing. You can pay, like, because Prime costs, what, like...
What, Amazon Prime?
Yeah, Amazon Prime costs, like $10 a month? 12?
10, something like that. I mean,
10
Prime for a year is $100.
Yeah, so, like, you know, that amount of money per month. But... You can pay, like, I think it's $3 extra a month for Music Unlimited, which is actually everything.
Oh yeah, it's $3 more a month.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
Yeah, it's
because if you're paying the $100 for everything, especially because you're gonna save a lot of money. Like this isn't like we're not just gonna talk about the economy for a little bit, you do save a bunch of money with the $100 because you're not driving out to go pick up the food or pick up whatever you need to pick up. You're just waiting for it. Yeah. So it's just like you're saving money in certain little ways. And if you know how to use it, that $100 can actually save you a lot of money. Plus, if you say you didn't have Netflix and you just had the Amazon Prime, well, you're kind of saving money in that regard.
I mean, especially if you're like me and you missed out on all of those early 2000 shows like Bones and House. I really like House. And
well, it's because we weren't born yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, you watched a few of those. You watched Star Trek.
Well, okay. I don't need to be insulted. But that's fine.
But yeah, they have a lot of those shows, and they're really long running because that was back when shows were like they always ran for like 8 seasons. So unlike Netflix where they have like 1 season shows, like Amazon Prime has really long running shows, and if you missed out on all of them, like you and me, there's a lot of content there. So it really brings up debate whether you need Netflix at that point.
Well, you do realize that we're the reason TV shows don't do that anymore. Like our generation. Yeah. Because going back to YouTube, the reason that like YouTube came along, and so we because we watched it, ended up killing all these TV providers that were like, oh, we'll give you 22 episodes a season. Now they only get 13 or whatever, and it's not, you're not promised like the opportunity to have 7 seasons. Like every Star Trek had 7 seasons because it was popular and TV could use it. Like people could just watch it because that was really the only thing there. But now you have all these streaming services, and like Netflix is taking over with their own shows because they have so much money. Which I guess it's kind of like a good return investment because we paid for so long and now we finally get to see what they can make. Like Lost in Space, I haven't checked it out, but
I have not seen Lost in Space. But you know what's really good?
What?
Umbrella Academy.
Oh yeah,
that's such a good show.
I've seen the first 10 minutes. So
dude, you need to watch the rest of it because it's great.
Well, spring break's next week. I'll probably watch it then.
I thought you were going to.
Well, I am, but I think that like I'll have time to watch it during the trip. Like, you think I'm just gonna be at the beach the whole time? No way.
I just assumed that's what you did. I've never been to Hawaii.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of time. There's an 8-hour flight, so I could watch some of it. Are they hour-long episodes?
Yes.
Well, I'm out. I only watch about 20-minute sitcoms.
Isn't that a topic? Like how, like Netflix just has these hour-long episodes.
I guess
everything used to be 45 minutes because of ads.
That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe the reason people don't read as much is because they're so used to consuming large blocks of watch time. Like, movies in themselves are 2 hours, typically. You're watching 1 episode of something, and it's half that. You watch 2, and it's like a movie. But I don't know. I kind of like the idea of shorter episodes, unless it's something, like, large scale. Like, I don't know what kind of TV show would warrant the hour. But I guess you just kind of have to judge it by yourself and see. But I don't, like, an hour is a long time. Like, you have to have something really good to fill that.
It's true. I mean, also, you have to realize that Netflix really plays into that bingeable kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because with those hour-long blocks, you watch one, and then it ends on a cliffhanger, and then you just, like, have that whole day, and you're like, well, might as well watch another one.
Yeah, I guess. I think that's unhealthy, though.
Oh, super unhealthy, but, like, it works.
Yeah. I mean,
I watched like all of Daredevil season 3 in one go because it was amazing, and I just kept wanting to watch it.
Yeah, if you're the company, that's really good for you. I just think that people don't just need to consume everything. They need to like actually have a brain and decide, hey, this is worth my hour time. But I've always liked TV shows better than movies. I think that you can tell a lot in those. Whatever seasons, like 3 or 4 seasons, if that's what you have.
I mean, my opinion on that is I would rather have a good TV show over a good movie, but I'd rather have a bad movie over a bad TV show.
I guess that's true.
Because like a bad movie is not as much as a time sink as a bad TV show. Because a bad TV show, like something in me tells me I need to finish it, and then I end up spending like 6 hours of my life watching something I hate.
Well, if you want the resolution, sure. But I think that if you're watching a movie and let's say it's 2 hours and it's a bad movie, like 30 minutes in, you're like, this is tough. You're watching that movie and like you could just stop it, but you kind of need to see the ending. But I feel like with a TV show, everything's chopped up. Like you could stop at a certain point and be like, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to waste another 45 minutes doing this.
I guess, but like for me, it's like I see it as, well, if I watch a bad movie, that's only like a 2 hour time sink. Like, I can recover from that. I can be like, oh well, it was only 2 hours, kind of thing. But if I watched a whole TV show because I just have to have the ending, I'd be like, oh man, I just wasted 6 hours or 12 hours or however long it is.
Yeah. Speaking of time, I feel like I haven't had the time to do stuff in like the past couple weeks. Like I feel like time has been so short.
Like, I don't know why, but like I feel like I haven't had the time to do a lot of stuff either. Like, not even watch Netflix or any YouTube, anything.
Well, I think it's.
I also didn't do a lot of my homework.
Yeah, well, that's what I was getting into. It's like today, the rest of my day, as soon as I get done with this, then I will probably upload it tomorrow, and like I'll have it edited and everything will be done. It'll be on the YouTube channel and the SoundCloud like tomorrow. But like I have so much homework to do today. Plus, I want to work out, which I don't even know if that's gonna happen. And I like, what if I wanted to watch a TV show or something? I can't do that. I think like time management has become such a big deal. And like it will be forever, right? Like from here on out. Like once you get to high school, time management is the biggest deal.
Yeah.
Like, and you're a junior, and next year like your stuff won't be as difficult. Like as a senior,
Fingers crossed.
I guess. But like for my class, it's the same 4 every year. Like the same 4 credits every year. Because you guys only have 3 each, and we have 4.
But I'm doing 4 each, so.
I guess.
Well, actually, no, that's not true. I'm not doing 4 history classes because they literally don't offer it.
Yeah, well, I am. Well, I will have to do the 4.
Yeah,
they have to make one.
Yeah, they have to make one for you guys, but they're not going to make one for my senior year.
What I wish that econ counted as. Like, I wish economics counted as.
Yeah, someone
history.
said it did, but I don't think it does. That doesn't make sense that it would count as a history credit.
Yeah, I guess, but
like, what do you learn about history in economics other than like economic regression and depression and ugh.
I mean, I wish we had the opportunity to. I wish we had the opportunity to have these non-essential classes. Like people use that as a talking point all the time when talking about like our choices in classes. They're like, oh, well, you know, you guys should be lucky because we don't offer anything that
you don't need to graduate.
We don't offer anything that like you would like regret taking because you're not going to graduate or something. But the counter argument is, well, you just need to be smart. Like if you're aware of what you're taking, then you can get by with taking classes that you want to take. Like that person that left school a couple years ago. Like he went to Union, and that was better, right? Because he had all these classes and opportunities.
Which I thought that was really funny that the accreditation team on, what was it, Thursday was like, you guys have so much opportunity.
Yeah, that was what they graded us on.
I was like, dude, like maybe compared to a school of a similar size, but like compared to a public school, I would disagree. They have a lot more classes, a lot more teachers, a lot more options.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. We got graded on some pretty weird stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that we got graded on the, what was it, facilities, and we got a low grade.
That was fun.
That was pretty fun.
I think we only got that though because there was a literal busted water pipe outside the school.
I mean that was pretty funny because wasn't that like day 1 that they showed?
Yeah, that was day 1.
Like,
it was so walking
cold,
across the street, and I said, "Wow, I don't think that's supposed to be gushing water."
Yeah. I don't.
Oh, that was hilarious though.
Talking about school is such a favorite topic just because of how bad it can be sometimes.
It can be. I mean, it has its good points, but not in high school.
I like how somebody was like, "Hey, what's the best part about our school? Like, what did they grade us on 5 years ago?" And then we all guessed, and they were like, "No, it's the students themselves." And then the accreditation team said that like the last day. They were like, "You want to know what the best part about the school is?" And everybody in the audience said the students themselves, and he goes, "Yes." Like he said that.
Yeah, that's creepy to be honest. Like that's weird because that's kind of arrogant if they didn't know that, if they were just like, oh, the students themselves. But the fact that like they just chose the same thing is a little concerning.
I guess. I mean, in terms of growth and everything, I think we're doing fine. But there's just little stuff that we need to fix. And we will probably get to them, but not in our time, that's for sure. Like, we'll both be long gone before they fix something.
Oh, yeah. But it would also be really nice to have a place to put your backpack because those lockers are tiny.
Well, next year we are going to get new lockers.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll believe it when I see it.
We've been promised a lot of things we didn't actually get.
I guess. And, I don't know. Talking about school is like such a weird, it's such a weird topic to get into. Because I feel like anybody, if anybody does listen to this,
which they won't.
God will. It's kind of like if you don't know exactly what we're talking about, then it's just kind of like you can't really relate. But also if like you're an older person, you're like, oh, this is kind of stupid. Like they're just talking about like dumb school stuff. But it's like,
well,
I guess we're in the moment.
Is probably people more our age.
Yeah, I guess. And people that are older are like, oh well, I'm out of school and this is kind of dumb because like I would know more about it. But it's just kind of like I guess everybody's unique in that sense. And our school is sure unique. I would say that for sure.
Oh yeah, unique is definitely one word.
I mean, I don't know. I think that a lot of people have had their school problems, but from what I hear, it's always like on a personal basis. Like it's always the people. And it's kind of like the opposite for us, where we have good people, but it's just kind of like
some things in the school just don't click.
Yeah, say like the building and stuff like that.
Here's a fun fact. Did you know that mural when you walk in? Hey.
Oh yeah.
It had the wrong logo for like the longest time.
Yeah, I did know that.
And that's why he covered it up. He covered it up.
Like that wall?
Yeah, he covered it up. Because it has the wrong letters.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Our school is so janky.
Yeah.
We had to cover up a logo.
I just realized,
wrong.
and I realized how we covered it up too.
Yeah, and it wasn't covered up for what, 10 years?
Yeah. Do you think it's gonna they're gonna take this down? They're just gonna have the mural again?
Nope.
It's just gonna be gone.
Well, unless they fix the mural.
Anyway, I want to jump outside of school for a second. Let's talk about something else because there's only so much school I can handle.
Captain Marvel.
Oh, Captain Marvel.
That came out.
Listen, I don't want to talk about it, but I do like Captain Marvel more than the idea of Endgame. Well, okay, not the idea of Endgame, okay, but at least I just get a feeling that when I watch Endgame, I'm gonna feel the same way I did about wow, I can't remember what the other one's called.
Infinity War?
Yes, Infinity War. It should have been called Infinity War Part 2. Endgame's alright, but
I remember there was a rumor going around that it was going to be called like Armageddon or something like that. That sounds like a cool name to me, but
or if it had just been called Avengers Forever because it's the fourth Avengers.
Okay,
movie.
That's a little cheesy for my taste, but
well, the whole movie's a little bit cheesy for my taste. That's why I think Captain Marvel is going to be a little bit better.
I don't know. I feel like Captain Marvel's just going to be like a pointless movie though, because it happens before in the end game.
I mean, maybe I'm just a little bit too indulgent, right? Because it's like I like the idea of waiting for all this kind of stuff to happen, then you have the final boiling point, and then there it is. Like I like the idea of when we were watching all these Marvel movies, like, oh, I'm so hyped because eventually they're all going to come together. But now I've seen the one where they all come together. Like now I'm about to watch one where they all come together again. Like there's not much hype to it. What movies have we had between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame? You've had Ant-Man the Wasp,
Captain Marvel, Black Panther.
No, that was right before because that was in February.
That was after Civil War, I think, right?
Black Panther was in February, and Infinity War came out in May, which proves that I know my information about these Marvel movies. It's just that I don't know. Like I'm not excited for the big team up as I was the last time because it was the first time it ever happened. I guess I'm kind of like, no, now show me something new. Like I'm just selfish on that point, but like I don't know. Like it's not like because if that's the case, then besides like the animated Spider-Man, there's 2 movies between those 2 gaps. Like what if it had been like instead of because when did Infinity War come out? 2018, right? It came out last year.
Yeah. Okay,
so this one's coming out just a year later. Like I would have rather had them not film anything at all and push it till 2020. And then, like, we get 3 or 4 Marvel movies in that span of time.
Yeah, but don't you think that would be really just, like... It wouldn't further the plot. It would just be, like, little filler... Like, it would be the equivalent to a filler arc. It would just be, like, these little things that are like, oh, but they died in the end because Thanos snapped his fingers and they're gone now. Like...
But what's the difference... Yeah, but then what's the difference between that and the filler movies that we had before Infinity War Part 1? Because, like, you don't need every bit from every movie.
I disagree on that point at least for Infinity War Part 1.
Like, did we need Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
Yes, because that explains why they were there. why they picked up Thor in that space area.
Yeah, but couldn't you have just had like a deleted scene at the end, or not deleted, but like an extra credit scene at the end of Guardians 1, where they're like in the spaceship and
well, I would say that that doesn't make coherent sense.
I guess, but we're talking about the universe as it's already been established.
I don't know. I just think, like, maybe you don't need to, like, you at least need to know what happens in the movies.
Like, okay, so I will probably, that's the thing about Marvel movies, is I just want them to take a break. Because, like, that's what they kind of did in this last year, but I just would have liked it if there was even more of a pause. Because, like, Marvel movies are such a big deal, but even after Avengers 4, it's gonna be, like, not over. There's gonna be more. Like, I think that the contract for whatever his name is, Captain America, is gonna be over.
And all of the big three.
Who's the third one?
Tony Stark, Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. I'm pretty sure their contracts are up.
Right, but you know that just means they're gonna get new people, and they have the ideas for them. Like Thor's gonna be based off that one comic a couple years ago where it was a girl.
I don't know about that. She hasn't been a part of the movies in a long time. Like, she wasn't even in Thor 3, despite being a major plot point in Thor 1 and 2.
Well, can you remember her name? Exactly.
Jane.
Those are bad movies.
I think it was Jane.
Jane?
Jane Foster, yeah.
Okay, well, they're still bad movies.
They were bad movies, but I watched them more than I should have.
Yeah, I think that the Thor movies got good, the third one, but that's another point. Did we need Thor 2?
Yes, because that introduced the Reality Stone. That's why it's there.
That's so stupid. Marvel's like, they mapped all this stuff out, like, on purpose, so that way they could make more movies. Because at the end of the day, like, sure, you have the dedicated fans, but it's still about making movies. Like, the number one thing for them is not about the community. Like, I wouldn't believe that.
For me, it's the person who wrote the storyboard for the whole Marvel Universe. After Endgame, they're out. So for me, even if, like, it continues, it'll be different. At least
what do you mean? What do you mean the guy's going out? Like the guy who wrote the stuff?
Yeah, basically the guy who, like, after the first few Marvel movies were really successful, he started planning out all these movies, and he got to where we are now, like Marvel Endgame.
And he doesn't have any more ideas?
After that, it's over. Like, he doesn't have anything else. As far as I know.
But is he still gonna work for them?
I have no idea. But as far as I know, that's it. So even, like, after this whole Marvel Endgame thing, it will be different. For better or for worse, but it will be different.
I mean, I hope so. I don't know. I mean, that's why I didn't watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, because I just want a break. Like, but I'm excited for Captain Marvel, because it's kind of like the prelude chapter to the big event. So, I mean, that's kind of why they scheduled it the way they did. Because Captain Marvel, she's just, like, that's the missing piece that they need to beat Thanos. So, because, like, that was the big deal.
Is it the antagonist, like the Skrulls or something?
The shape-shifting guys, yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to the most, to be honest, is how they use that.
The best thing... Well, okay, maybe that's why I like Captain Marvel, because of the whole idea of, like, it's in the 90s, and not just for that part, but, like, you get to see all of these S.H.I.E.L.D. agents as they were, like, in their prime.
Oh, you want to see, Nick Fury with an afro?
Yeah, sure, let's go with that. But, like...
afro and a mustache Nick Fury from Pulp Fiction?
Like, they did a good job making him look younger, but, like, you know that there's going to be some kind of action scene with him in it.
And he's going to lose an eye.
Yeah, and
which is going to be awesome.
Do you think it's going to be the cat? Because that's a big deal. Like, you know about that?
No.
Okay, so there's a bunch of... I'm going to show you this right now, but there's a bunch of posters for Captain Marvel. Like, a bunch of individual posters like you would see at a movie theater.
Yeah.
And one of the posters is the cat that... whatever her name is, Captain Marvel, like, that's her pet, right?
Yeah.
Or Cara Danvers, right? I think that's her name.
I have no idea.
Yeah, so anyway, this cat is her sidekick, but, like, her pet. And so the theory is that he loses the eye from this cat. Like, the cat scratches his eye out.
I don't know about that. Like, if you look, because in, here's how, I watched Captain America, the Winter Soldier, like, so many times, but...
Because it's arguably the best one.
Oh, yeah, it's super good, but, I don't know, because in that movie, Captain America, like, lifts up his eye patch, and you see his eye with, like, what happened to it, and it doesn't look like a cat scratch to me. Like, it's way too damaging for that to be the case.
I guess, but do you really think that they thought that far in advance?
I hope they did.
Well, I mean, we don't.
Because for one, cat scratches usually have usually 3 individual scratches at least.
I mean, that's what like movies and television would have you believe.
And his I don't know, his eye looked like he got stabbed to me.
Well, there's an eye there, right? It's like a white eye.
Yeah, it's a white eye with
but there's no
gash in it.
Yeah, but there's no like iris or pupil or any of that stuff, right?
I mean, it's white. It looks like he's blind because he is.
I guess. Is that real? Do eyes usually turn white?
I have no idea.
Oh well.
Excuse me, I'm just trying to make things interesting. I was trying to learn something. But yeah, I don't know. I think that Captain Marvel, if that scene happens, it will be one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time. If we see the cat scratch his eye out, even if it's one of those things because it's a PG-13 movie where the camera pans to behind Nick Fury so we don't see it happen, like that would still be amazing because at least that'd be something that I'd be interested in. But I mean, I don't know. In game, like we know how it has to end, right? Like they have to bring everyone back. Like there's not non-essentials, is there? I don't think there. The only people that I can think of that wouldn't come back would be
the big 3.
Yeah, or first of all, I think that if anybody's gonna die for good, it would be Iron Man, because he's the one that's left, and he's the one that started everything with Iron Man 1, and it's just the circle.
Can you believe that's almost 11 years ago now?
Yeah, 2008.
Like I remember seeing that.
Because last year was the big 10-year anniversary, which is why Infinity War was when it was. Which I hope that they didn't think about it that much, where they're like, oh, if we plan all these movies, eventually it'll be 10 years down the line, and we'll get to the big one.
Not when it was just Iron Man. Like I'm pretty sure they didn't have this big overarching plan for their series until Avengers 1.
Right, because you can see that in the fact that like Nick Fury is in Iron Man 1. Like you kind of get the idea of this plot through Nick Fury, and like over time it became less and less about Nick Fury. But like, he's still in it. He's still like one of the best characters, I think.
I don't know. He just kind of makes cameos most of the time. Like after he died in what was it, Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
He like only ever made like small appearances.
Well, it's because I don't know if it's canon, but the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. television show.
I think it is.
Well, because they had this whole thing where, at the same time as Winter Soldier, because all of the movies line up with that show.
Which is actually, like, I never watched it, but that's actually, like, a really cool thing that they did.
Yeah, because I watched the first 2 seasons, and it always, like, whatever movie was out at the time, they always lined it up with the television show, which is kind of cool if you think about it on, a scheduling level. Because that means that when they were writing all this stuff down, like, we need to do this publicity stunt here to market the show, and then we're going to do this one here, so that way we can say, oh, it's coming out this date. That means that when they were planning all that stuff out, they knew when the other Marvel movie was coming out. They knew when the episode had to air for everybody else to see it and be like, "Oh, that movie just came out."
Yeah,
that's cool.
And I always love how they never shoved it down your throat either. It was like a subtle thing they said.
Oh, because that's just kind of because they can't show it.
Yeah.
Like, they can't show you the events of whatever city that they destroyed Age of Ultron. It's some weird name.
It was Slovakia, I think.
Something like that. But yeah, they can't show you that because I think it's a licensing thing. They can't show you the movie stuff.
Well, yeah, they can't show you the movie stuff. But what I'm saying is they weren't remember, they don't use names. They were like, oh, the city of Slovakia, blah blah blah.
Yeah, or I think it was in season 1, one of the episodes, it ends with Coulson because that's the main character, and he's on the phone and he's like, yeah, we just found a hammer outside of New Mexico, or something like that.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. It's like, oh, it's alluding to the fact that Thor is coming out, or that Thor did come out, or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's the Marvel movies that make everybody interested. I mean, they do a good job with lore and stuff.
They do. I appreciate the fact that they made a large overarching story that actually seems somewhat coherent.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any Marvel movie that I dislike a lot. I think my favorite one is Doctor Strange. I love that movie.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is a really good movie.
It's underrated. I think a lot of people don't like it.
I haven't heard anyone who openly.
Well, people won't say that it's one of their top ones. I think that, to be fair, I don't think that it holds up with action sequences and stuff, but it's just kind of cool.
I would argue that it does because where other movies have action sequences, Doctor Strange has cool cinematic sequences where everything twisted and messed up and kind of that trippy vibe.
Yeah. I mean, it was certainly something to look at.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that movie. It came out in 2016. That was a good.
Yeah,
See, that was a good year for Marvel movies.
Yeah, you got like a ton of people together to watch that thing. It was good.
Yeah, it was because it was the best one that I had heard of at the time. Because I think that was the same year that Civil War came out. I think. But
I mean, it's really cliche, but my favorite Marvel movie would either have to be my top 3 would definitely be the original Avengers, Captain America: Winter Soldier, and Thor: Ragnarok would be my top 3 favorite Marvel movies.
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok was pretty good.
It was a good movie.
Came in pretty late, but it was worth the wait for Thor movies.
I'd say so.
well, we're almost to the end here. We got like 10 more minutes before we should cut this quits. But I mean, what's the future of this podcast? What do you want to do?
I don't know. I just kind of want to talk about things that are topical.
Like anything?
Anything.
I mean, do we want to like have a slot like for like reviewing something or doing whatever, or do we just want to talk like we're doing right now? Do we just want to hang out?
Well, what do you want to review?
I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? Where it's like you could do books, you could do books take a while, but
Yeah,
that's what I'm
saying.
getting.
You want me to read a book every week?
Yeah, but like there's books, there's television shows, there's movies. I mean, we could do one of those things where we watch like 3 episodes of a show and then review it, and then watch the next 3 and review it, whatever. Like take notes and stuff. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's up to you whether you want to just do, like what we're doing right now, or just kind of shoot the breeze, or whatever, like review something or talk about something in depth like that. I mean, we definitely like next week. We'll probably talk about. Next week's gonna be rough because I'm gonna be gone. We'll have to figure out how to do that because I'm not gonna be here unless you want to record it a little bit early. But whatever.
We could record it early if you wanted to.
Yeah, but anyway, that Marvel movie, Cap Marvel, is what we're gonna talk about like next week.
Yeah, more in depth in this week because.
Yeah, because we'll finally we'll get to talk about like what we actually like saw in it.
Because we're seeing it tomorrow.
And I don't want to be that guy, but it did get a pretty good Rotten Tomatoes score, so.
I don't actually believe in Rotten Tomato scores because
Well, no.
it's just I like movies that get bad scores most of the time.
Well, here's the thing, right? Captain Marvel, they had to like change the way you could review on Rotten Tomatoes because a bunch of people went on Rotten Tomatoes and they were basically like making fun of the movie because it stars a female lead.
I actually heard about that through a meme of all things.
And I think that they did the same thing with Black Panther, but I also think that a lot of people complain about that sort of thing. Like
I feel like people wouldn't complain about it if it wasn't Marvel. I don't know. Like, maybe it's just me, but like, because Marvel's such a big brand.
Well, because I just think that there are certain people that dwell on that kind of drama stuff. Because it happens with every movie. People are going to make fun of it for every reason. But just the fact that, it's such a mainstream movie, and it's just something that, like, a lot of people could hate on for it happening. It just happens. Like, the same thing with Black Panther. Except Black Panther, I think there was, like, gun violence in movie theaters for Black Panther. I think I remember that.
I don't remember that.
I could be wrong, but I feel like I remember, like, people going into movie theaters and it was bad. But, yeah, I don't think that, I don't know, people just start drama for drama's sake.
Oh, everyone does, dude.
I mean, I hope Captain Marvel's good. Should be good. I'm not, like, worried that it's going to be bad. I'm not overhyped either, which means that it should be pretty good.
Gotta keep those expectations low.
The other thing for the whole reviewing idea is that if people, God willing, actually listen to this at any point, if they find out that we're reviewing something, then they can, like, jump on board and be like, hey, I want to, like, talk about that too, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Would you be up to doing a TV show? I mean, it's a segment of this. It doesn't have to be, like, the whole podcast, like an hour-long discussion on, like an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. I mean, I'm not saying that's what we'd be reviewing, but I'm saying...
I mean, we could do that. I haven't seen it. You already have your opinion on it.
Listen, I got this written down. We're going to talk about it. Do you know that it's called Communicator? Like,
I was worried you were going to bring this up.
Like, listen, it's... Okay, for everyone that's listening, it's spelled Kimmunicator.
Like Communicator.
Like Kim Possible. Like, did you ever...
I didn't know that. I didn't need to know that.
That's the most interesting thing on this entire list of stuff to talk about.
I mean, kind of. It kind of reminds me of that, like, theory where just word association has changed how people hear things. Like, what is it? Like, Sex in the City is not called that, but it's called, like...
Sex and the City.
Yeah. But people have just, like, called it that for so long that people are like, it must be what it's called.
I just wish that there was some kind of
Or,
website.
you know, my favorite one is, I think it's the... Like, people say mirror, mirror on the wall, but it's magic mirror on the wall.
Yeah, but see, that's like Mandela effects. That's what people always refer to those as. But it's like, people just kind of associate with the Mandela effect because they didn't know that or something, or like they jumped to conclusions or something. But I don't know. There's a bunch of those, like the Berenstain Bears. People call it the Berenstein Bears.
I did.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people did. I don't know why that is, but obviously it's not some mystical, magical, whatever. I mean, unless it is. But I mean, whatever. Like,
Suspend your disbelief.
I just wish there was some kind of website where I could go to that could be like, oh, you know that thing that was called the Communicator? Here's like 20 more of those that like you didn't realize, because there has to be a bunch of them.
I can't. I feel like there shouldn't be a bunch of them, but I didn't watch a lot of TV when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did watch a lot of television.
You see how you watch television? I played games, all kinds of games.
Yeah, well,
I actually talked to my mom about this, and I've been playing video games since I was like two.
Oh, do you remember the first video game you ever played?
Monopoly.
Okay, but that, like a video game version of Monopoly? Okay, well that's just a game. Like, that's not like Mario Brothers or something.
No, it's not, but I did start playing games like that later, like 4 or 3.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I've only just started getting into video games again, like with the PS4 and stuff like that. But see, that's like going way back to what we were talking about earlier, where it was like time management and stuff. I feel like that's a big part of it. Where like I want to do all these different things, like writing every day to fit my whole challenge. Where I do that, like I write in my notebook every day. You know, playing like 2K if I want to get on real quick and just do like a quick 2K game or stuff like that. The other big deal is that like time management's so wasteful for me when I do something like have a really long day at school and then I go and like I nap.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I can't nap.
Napping. Like,
it's such a time sink.
Before high school, I never napped. I never did that.
I mean, there's been moments when I got really close to napping, but I didn't. I just can't.
I wish I couldn't, but it's like I feel like if I don't nap, then I'm just gonna like hate myself while I'm exercising. But I do it anyway. Like yesterday, I tried so hard not to nap, and I think what ended up happening was that I went upstairs and like you know how like you have that temperature change because you walk upstairs and you're like, ooh, it's warmer now or whatever. I walked upstairs and like the air conditioner was on or something, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna lay in bed for a second. I got into my bed and I was like, I'm just gonna close my eyes, and I knew I wasn't supposed to nap, so I was just like, oh, I'm just like chilling for a second. And I don't remember falling asleep, but I just remember like waking up and I checked the time. It was like 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, it's 10 minutes, not like an hour. Like at least it's not something huge where it's like I ruined my whole day. And I still ended up exercising and doing, you know, a bunch of different things. And it ended up being like 11 o'clock before I went to do the writing. And then the writing was until 11:30, and then midnight was probably when I went to bed. So, I don't know. Like I just wish I could figure out a way to manage my time better.
We all do, but I think we're just about out of time.
Yeah, I mean...
So what's your closing statement? Your closing thought to our very first podcast?
I mean, that's not a debate or anything. Listen, I think that there was some kind of website where I could go to that could be like, oh, you know that thing that was called the communicator? Here's like 20 more of those that like you didn't realize. Because there has to be a bunch of them.
I feel like there shouldn't be a bunch of them, but I didn't watch a lot of TV when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did watch a lot of television.
You see how you watch television? I played games, all kinds of games.
Yeah, well,
I actually talked to my mom about this, and I've been playing video games since I was like two.
Well, do you remember the first video game you ever played?
Monopoly.
Okay, but that like a video game version of Monopoly. Okay, well that's just a game. Like that's not like Mario Brothers or something.
No, it's not. But I did start playing games like that later, like 4 or 3.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. Like a video game. I've only just started getting into video games again, like with the PS4 and stuff like that. But see, that's like going way back to what we were talking about earlier, where it was like time management and stuff. I feel like that's a big part of it. Where like I want to do all these different things, like writing every day to fit my whole challenge. Where I do that, like I write in my notebook every day. You know, playing like 2K if I want to get on real quick and just do like a quick 2K game or stuff like that. The other big deal is that like time management's so wasteful for me when I do something like have a really long day at school and then I go and like I nap.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I can't nap.
Napping. Like,
it's such a time sink.
Before high school, I never napped. I never did that.
I mean, there's been moments when I got really close to napping, but I didn't. I just can't.
I wish I couldn't, but it's like I feel like if I don't nap, then I'm just gonna like hate myself while I'm exercising. But I do it anyway. Like like yesterday, I tried so hard not to nap, and I think what ended up happening was that I went upstairs and like you know how like you have that temperature change because you walk upstairs and you're like, ooh, it's warmer now or whatever. I walked upstairs and like the air conditioner was on or something, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna lay in bed for a second. I got into my bed and I was like, I'm just gonna close my eyes, and I knew I wasn't supposed to nap, so I was just like, oh, I'm just like chilling for a second. And I don't remember falling asleep, but I just remember like waking up and I checked the time. It was like 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, it's 10 minutes, not like an hour. Like at least it's not something huge where it's like I ruined my whole day. And I still ended up exercising and doing, you know, a bunch of different things. And it ended up being like 11 o'clock before I went to do the writing. And then the writing was until 11:30, and then midnight was probably when I went to bed. So I don't know. Like I just wish I could figure out a way to manage my time better.
We all do, but I think we're just about out of time.
Yeah, I mean.
So what's your closing statement? Your closing thought to our very first podcast?
I mean, that's not a debate or anything. Listen, I think that it's gonna be fun. I think that
this will be a thing that we will do for a long time. I hope.
I mean, at least as like